Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. I don't have a lot of time to make a video, so this might even get interrupted. But I had at least a couple seconds, and I'm just going to make a quick book haul video. So, let me turn off this little fan. I got some religious books that I've been intending to show for a while. I wanted to have this video up for Sunday, but I was tired after church, so that didn't happen. But I'm going to jump right into the book haul simply because I don't have a lot of time before I stream Liturgy of the Hours on my other channel, but I had a couple of minutes. So first things first, I caught a sale with Ignatius Press. It was a decent sale, but what really got me is they had a book that I ended up being really interested in. So this book was Mary, Mother of God, In Search of the Woman Who Changed History. And it says that in the description that I saw, hold on, it was saying something to the effect of they were going through with archaeologists and historians, traveling around the globe in the footsteps of Mary of Nazareth was not only a journalistic investigation, but a spiritual path. I can't pronounce the first name of the journalist involved. Yeah, I can't pronounce. I'm going to show you guys. But it sounded like it was, there we go, and then that's, oh, where's the other name? Okay, so I guess the top name is the author maybe, and the bottom name the photographer. I can't pronounce either of those names. But it's got beautiful artwork in it. Whoopsie. Beautiful artwork. And it looks like it's going through, I remember seeing that one by Titian. Presentation of the Blessed Virgin to the temple herself. So they're talking about marriage historically during that time. And particularly as they would have applied to her. So they're going through her life, but also relating things to what it sounds like what it would have been like to be a woman of her era. So this is something that just looked very interesting to me. The mixture of talking about Mary's life, but also diving into the archaeology and our knowledge of the history of the era. Just really hits all my interest areas, plus the beautiful artwork in here. So I was so happy it gets on sale because I'm not sure if I would have been able to pick it up otherwise. So once I saw that, I was like, well, let me, kind of fill out my order a little bit, see what else I can get on sale. Well, of course, I ended up picking up one of each of these for my mom and I because mom is really into Padre Pio. And usually, so there are definitely points where I pick up a book for her and I pick up a book for me, and that's what happened here. This one just sounded like it could be fun. It's would that be pronounced Jorge? No, that's not how that would be pronounced, I don't think. Bernanos. I would have said Jorge, but that's not how Jorge is spelled. Diary of a Country Priest, a new translation by Michael Tobin. I'm not sure what the original language was. So, I think that actually, it's France. So I have trouble with French pronunciation, guys. I'm not sure how that would be pronounced in French. But it's a novel, apparently, recounting the joys and travails of a young parish priest tormented by illness and afflicted by awkwardness. And with a colorful cast of local characters, it just sounds like it might be a bit of a fun story. Maybe a bit awkward at times, which awkwardness can always be a bit embarrassing and to deal with it in reading, but it looked interesting. Thought I'd grab it. It was on sale. Now this book haul's been a long time coming, so some of these have been waiting to be shown for months upon months, and this is one of them. I picked up one for mom and I picked up one for me. I want to say this was a Princeton. Yeah, this is a Princeton press sale from a long time ago, early in the year. So this is The Jesuits, A History. And look at this chunk-a-lunk. But I was already picking it up for myself, and I said, hey, Mom, you want me to pick one up for you as well? Because it was, as I recall, like I said, this was a long time ago, it was quite a decent like one of those big sales that Princeton can sometimes have, or can have. They usually have some quite decent sales. So yeah, she wanted one as well. And yeah, this would be interesting because there's quite a history with the Jesuits. Going on from there, when Pope Leo was became Pope, there were quite a few biographies that came out about him, like almost right away, it seemed. The first one is okay, actually this one's not Pope Leo. Sorry, this one is Pope Leo, and this was one of the ones that came out like right after. Where's my other one? I have another one about Pope Leo. Oh, well, when I come across it, I'll show it as well. But this is one of the ones that came out right after his becoming Pope, because I wanted to know more about him. Haven't read it yet. Oh, by the way, yesterday was his birthday, which is kind of cool. His birthday was on the Feast of the Triumph of the Cross, also Exaltation of the Cross. Either one's the title known in the Liturgy Hours, the other one is the one we currently use in the Mass. So, not quite sure why the liturgy doesn't keep it consistent between the Liturgy of the Mass and the Liturgy of the Hours, but both are perfectly legitimate names for the feast day. And he has his birthday on that feast day, which is super cool. Anyway, that was, and this has Father Mike Schmitz, Jeff Cavins, so some really well-known names involved in this. This one is something completely different. Before the Dawn, autobiographical reflections by Eugenio Zoli, former chief rabbi of Rome. So this would have been covering during World War II and his dealings with Pope Pius I always want to say, I think it's 12th. Let's see. Yeah, Pope Pius XII, and talk about the battle with Nazism. I believe he's the one who became Catholic after the war, with all the help that he got behind the scenes from the Catholic Church, while the Catholic Church was trying to do what they could while still keeping their diplomatic immunity, because they pushed too far and lost their diplomatic immunity, they wouldn't be able to help anybody, and they would have just been completely overrun. So they were in a very difficult diplomatic position. But I'm interested in reading what he has to say. I thought I had read this book already, but I had not. This one actually is supposed to start in October. It's October through December. They are doing, I think it's Faith Books. I'll tag her below. Faith's channel. She is doing, she does this theology year-long read-along that she's been doing, readathon. And next quarter is reading about Isaiah. And we found this commentary on the book of Isaiah, or Mom found it. And I'm not sure if Faith ended up picking this up or not, but this is what my mom and I are going to be doing for Isaiah in the next quarter. It looks really good. This is by Father Mitch Pacwa. So it's really set up nicely. It makes me think of the way a couple of my Venerable Bede commentaries are set up, where they'll have the verse and then they'll have the commentary. And it's definitely preferable to have the Bible with you while you're doing it. But if you didn't have it, at least they provide the verse so you know what's being talked about, which is, I think, a very nice way to set this up. And I had, which Bede? I don't have, without knocking everything over, I can't pull my Venerable Bede commentary down. But that's the way at least one or two of my Venerable Bede commentaries are set up. I want to say it was my Acts of the Apostles that Bede commented on. But yes, that's where I first saw this kind of setup, and I'm really excited that that's the setup that Father Pacwa uses for this. Then, sorry, I keep checking the time. I have, let me actually grab this one separate. This is by Father, I got interrupted. So, I will probably still have to stop this video in the middle because in about 5 minutes or so, I am going to have to start streaming for liturgy in my other channel. But this is by the church. This is by Father Ronald Knox. Now, I first became aware of his work as a member of the Detection Club, one of the early founding members of the Detection Club. And I do have several of his mysteries, although they're really hard to get a hold of physically at any decent price. It's a lot easier to get a hold of his religious works, and this is one of them: The Church on Earth, the Nature and Authority of the Catholic Church and the Place of the Pope Within It. So this is a Father Ronald Knox Catholic work versus one of his mysteries. Then this one here is a Scott Hahn book, a newer one, Covenant and Communion, the Biblical Theology of Pope Benedict the 16th. Sorry, I struggle with Roman numerals. Pope Benedict the 16th. I'm trying to get all Scott Hahn's books, so that's not really a surprise right there. Oh, another Father Ronald Knox. Oh, this is a literary biography of Father Ronald Knox by David Rooney. So I guess I have a biography of Father Ronald Knox, but apparently this is a biography that focuses on him using his literary works as a jumping off point. So it's a different format than the one that Evelyn Waugh does. So I went ahead and snagged this, thought it was an interesting idea. Father Ronald Knox is someone I've been wanting to really get to know more of. I've only read one of his mysteries at this point, but I do plan on really diving in with him. Let's see. Okay. I'm not going to be able to show all these before. Okay, let's see. You know, I think I'll show the rest of the Scott Hahn books by themselves. Maybe do a Scott Hahn book haul part. Because, oh my gosh, I have a lot of Scott Hahns. So let's set these aside. Okay, so here's my other Pope Leo. Well, this is the first one that ended up coming in for me after he got elected. And this is Portrait of the First American Pope, Leo the 14th. Sorry, I'm bad at Roman numerals, as I've said. So I'm not sure which one of my Pope Leo books I'll read first. Then another Father Mitch Pacwa, St. Paul, Jubilee Year of the Apostle Paul edition. Now, I think that this would have been last year that this would have been put out, but I am a member of one of the Pauline Institutes. Mine is the Institute of Our Lady of the Annunciation. So anything St. Paul, I tend to snap up for studying. So I think this is kind of a study guide. Then we have Where We Got the Bible, Our Debt to the Catholic Church by Henry G. Graham, together with his conversion story, From the Kirk to the Catholic Church. Honestly, I wasn't even looking for this. I was looking for a different book. And this was recommended to me, I think, on eBay. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I know nothing else about it really than the title. So I will see what it's like. And I picked up one from Mom because it was a really good price. Now, I am ever since I've been a kid, I've been a fan of St. Maximilian Kolbe. If you are at all familiar with his story, he was probably best known for being the priest who, he was a priest who was taken by the Nazis. I think he was Polish. Yeah, he was Polish. He was taken into one of the Nazi concentration camps, namely Auschwitz. And a prisoner had escaped. And they were picking people at random to be starved to death as sort of an example, like if you do this, other people will die. And one of the men who was chosen cried out, "Oh, my poor wife, my poor children." And Father Maximilian Kolbe said, "Take me." And they were like, "Why?" He said, "I'm a Catholic priest, take me instead." And for some reason they did. They swapped out the guy who had a wife and children and took Father Maximilian Kolbe instead. And he was the last one left alive when they came to check on the prisoners left to starve, and they ended up giving him a lethal injection. The man whose life was saved by Father Maximilian Kolbe was there at his canonization ceremony, and he was able to make it home to his wife and children. So I had read a comic book about him. And from my understanding, actually Marvel put out some Catholic comic books back in the day. I read the one about St. John Paul II as a kid. I remember the one about Francis of Assisi. And I recently saw something on Instagram about the guy who was involved in Marvel, putting out these Catholic comic books. He's recently put out a book on Japanese martyrs. And the whole reason he became interested in that was he had been sent by Stan Lee to Japan back in the day to try to make Spider-Man popular there. And I guess he did what he was going to do over there, came back impressed by the Japanese martyrs, and began kind of pushing Stan Lee to put out some of these comics, like the Pope John Paul II one, which was kind of a staple of my childhood. I think that the Maximilian Kolbe one might have been one, and the St. Francis of Assisi one. And these were like big deal things that I remember as a kid reading them. And that was really what fostered my love for Maximilian Kolbe. It was a really impactful comic. No, I don't still have that comic, guy. It probably would have been trashed anyway, simply because, my sister and I read it so much. Oops, this is another Scott Hahn. This will be shown during the Scott Hahn section. And then I'm going to end with, and then I really do need to go for Liturgy of the Hours on my other channel. I have two Father Timothy Gallagher books here. He's another one whose books I've been collecting. Struggles in the Spiritual Life, Their Natures and Their Remedies. Here's a powerful, life-changing book that'll help you understand and conquer the struggles you face in your spiritual life. It's a book for those who love the Lord and desire holiness, yet often feel adrift or stagnant in their search for spiritual growth. So, all of us encounter valleys on our journey to the Lord, the periods of spiritual desolation that are painfully an unavoidable feature of our prayer life. Spiritual desolation is as complex as we are, so understanding what is happening and responding to it properly are critical to reaching the heights of holiness. And I guess each chapter deals with the different part of that. And then the final is another Father Timothy Gallagher, an Ignatian Introduction to Prayer. Scriptural reflections according to spiritual exercises. And actually, this is Father Ignatius was the founder of the Jesuits, but his it's a lot of reading scripture and meditating. I look forward to doing this because I've been wanting to get more into the Ignatian way of prayer, of meditating. So this will be really cool. That's it for this video. Thank you very much. I know this is broken up into two parts by accident because my alarm went off. I do have to run because I'm live streaming like 1 minute on my other channel. But I will return with another video for my Scott Hahn book haul and my Liturgy Hours book haul, and that'll make more sense when I get to that. But I do need to end this video to go do Liturgy of the Hours. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you the next time that I record. God bless. Bye.